Okay, I got some bad news for you people uh, about uh, about the man who played as Officer Smith on Sanford and Son in the 1970s um, and played as Lester Jenkins in the 1980s TV show 227. Uh, he has passed away. He died at the age of 91. Full condolences, man, that goes out to his family and friends. I mean, he has a life from his you know appearances, but he see it's all led from him guest appearing on Sanford and Son all the way to him guest appearing on Webster alongside the late James Avery, who the guy who used to play as the Shredder in uh in the 1987 cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then later in 1990, Avery played as Philip Banks, who was a Los Angeles court judge on The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So Hal Williams, man, that guy. See, before Hal Williams got into the thing by going uh, to play a character on 227 as Lester Jenkins. He guest appeared on Webster where he met Emmanuel Lewis, who played as Webster Long. You know, I mean, it's the Alex Karras, rest in peace, especially. See, Alexander Karras, who played as plays George on the Webster show. Rest in peace. They develop a rapport, so that's the old thing going down. But rest in peace to Mr. Hal Williams, who played as Officer Smith on Sanford and Son, and Lester Jenkins on 227. But the television world misses him. They owe him a lot. But I'm gonna put a little of that aside. Put a little of that aside, and I'm gonna start this live show here that's dedicated into the memory of Mr. Garry Marshall Shider. I mean, this man was so talented, man, in his singing. He adored gospel music. You know what I'm saying? Learning from the likes of those gospel legends, like I'm gonna have to get ready to tell y'all. See, Shider, he had a thing with he had a thing by listening to gospel music, but he sang behind many people, man, like Miss Shirley Caesar, and the Five Blonde Boys and the Mighty Clouds of Joy. I mean, he sang right behind many of these greats, these gospel artists, that can consider legends in the in that genre. So then I could remember the he said this in an interview that he used to steal those towels that was from a hotel room of a Holiday Inn. He used to steal those towels from the Holiday Inn. And he took them and cut the holes in there, you know, into the towels and then make a diaper out of it. And he was like ready to go. He mentioned this on He mentioned this on the Tales of Dr. Funkenstein uh, from 2006. But I'm explaining to y'all, man. The main three people were all living in Plainfield, New Jersey. It was all born and raised in Plainfield, New Jersey. You know, I mean, the three people that that kind of grew up listening to the same music and raised by the same people and taught by the same people. There were William Nelson Jr. There were William Nelson Jr., Shider, and Cordell Masoon. That's French. Those three guys, man, they used to learn the music. These guys were taught by the same people and listen to the same music that they have already listened to for years. And that's what we're going. Now we're going into the legacy of Mr. Diaper Man himself, Garry Marshall Shider. This man was an American musician and a guitarist. He was the musical director of the P Funk All Stars for much of their history. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997, along with 15 other members of Parliament Funkadelic. Yes, alongside the people that was already with George Clinton. Um, Clarence Haskins. You know, there's a guy right there who was like a preacher. Yeah, he was the singer of the Parliaments. Yeah, Clarence Haskins. You know what I'm saying? Grady Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Um, Bigfoot, Bigfoot Jerome Braley. He's the co-author of Give Up the Funk. Uh, George Bernard Worrell Jr., William Nelson Jr., Cordell Masoon, who else? Calvin Simon, Ray Davis. Yeah, and those many others. But as soon as they all performed on stage at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they gave the fans a hell of a show. Let's go see where it all began. Let me see where it all began. Let's go see what all began with Mr. Garry Marshall Shider. Okay, he, this guy had those names. He got these names that's gotten creative. They gotten so creative for him. I think it was the Diaper Man. It was Star Child. Or was it Choli? It's those three aliases that got mentioned here. I done all this reading of all this background information bullshit. Let's start his early life, you know what I'm saying, from under it. Garry Marshall Shider was born in Plainfield, New Jersey at the age of 10. and under the guidance of his father, Jesse. Garry and his brothers played and sang behind many gospel artists of the time, including legends like such as Shirley Caesar, whose real name is Shirley Williams, the Five Blind Boys of Mississippi, the mighty Clouds of Joy, and others. As a youth, Shider was a regular customer at the Plainfield Barber Shop that was owned by George Clinton that was since been torn down and demolished. So the future members of Parliament would sing doo-wop for the customers and counsel the local youngsters. Clinton made note of the young Shider's talents on the guitar and his ability with the gospel singing. By the time he was 16 years old, Shider wished to escape the crime and the dead end prospects of Plainfield. So he and his friend Cordell Boogie Masoon left for Canada, where Shider married and had a son. Shider and Masoon formed a funk slash rock band called United Soul, or US for short. Singer, songwriter, and bandleader George Edward Clinton was living in Toronto, Canada at the time and began hearing about United Soul from the people in the local music business and took the band under his wing upon learning that Shider was a member. This is his career here. In 1971, Clinton produced several tracks by United Soul with the input from the members of the group Funkadelic. The songs I Miss My Baby and I Owe You Something Good were released as a one off single by a record label that happened to be Westbound Records, a Detroit-based record label that was founded by a man named Armin Bouladian uh, in the 1960s. And that record label had a distribution deal with Janus Records from 1970 to 1975. But in 1971, under the group name US Music with Funkadelic, all the music here, like all the tracks here, were recorded with Clinton in 1971. It were released by Westbound Records all the way in 2009 as the album US Music with Funkadelic. After producing United Soul, Clinton then shared the whole thing. I think he hasn't even shared this, but Clinton then invited Shider and Masoon to join Parliament Funkadelic. The two United Soul songs were re-recorded on the later Funkadelic albums with Shider as a member. Clinton groomed Shider for an important role in the P-Funk roster. like they throwing the P like this, in which Shider joined full time in 1972. He was a prominent contributor to the albums by both Parliament and Funkadelic until the dissolution of those two bands in the early 1980s. After which that he continued to work regularly with Clinton's group here, the now reformed P Funk All Stars. During Parliament Funkadelic performances, Shider was known for appearing in a diaper that was made out of those towels that he used to steal from the Holiday Inn all those years ago, making him instantly making him instantly recognizable on stage and earning the nickname, the alias Diaper Man. Shider is featured prominently in many hit songs like the artwork of Cosmic Slop, Getting to Know You. That's the songs that come out. The many hit songs that came out prominently. It was Cosmic Slop. That was from the album. Getting to Know You, Getting to Know You, and One Nation Under a Group. He co-wrote many noteworthy. Yes, those note. Yeah, I will tell you what he wrote. He had done the work by co-wrote. Uh, he co-wrote many of the noteworthy Parliament funkadelic songs that he did all the work on, and he made important contributions to the P Funk spin-off acts, including the likes of William Earl Collins, also known as Bootsy, and Edward Earl Hazel. Shider has been featured in the Guitar Player magazine 3 times and once in the Japanese version. He has featured in Who's Music and appeared in a compilation album by Paul Schaefer. There's Paul Schaefer right here. He was a Canadian musician, actor, and a comedian who has served as a musical director and band leader and a sidekick of David Letterman on the Late Night with David Letterman show from 1982 to 1993. Yes, from 1982 to 1993. That has a history of it. It's been around for it's been over 44 years, all the way to over 33 years. And he has been on the Late Show with David Letterman that was dated back from like over 33 years all the way to like over 11 years. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this question about why that Garry Shider, this man has been featured in the Who's Who in music, and he just appeared on a compilation album that was by Paul Schaefer and the David Letterman band, and also on some sort of a rock group. It was called the Black Crowes 1996 album. It's called Three Snakes and One Charm. Three Snakes and One Charm. That was like the album that was from the Black Crowes. Shider has also appeared on Saturday Night Live several times. I don't know why you just let him come out there with a diaper that's made out of all these towels that he just took from a hotel all those years ago. Yeah, he been on that show several times. He appeared on it several times. And then later he was on the Late Show with David Letterman. He appeared on the Arsenio Hall show. He appeared on the Arsenio Hall show. He appeared on New York Undercover. He appeared on the Tonight Show, um, and many others. But he appeared in the films like PCU. It was a film that he was featured in with George Clinton and them, and the night before, both of which included the songs that he wrote and performed. He has also had songs that was featured in the film Bad Boys, the movie. It was a 1983. It was a 1983 American coming of age crime drama film that was set in a juvenile detention center that was featured with Sean Penn, and Sean Penn made the connection, as well as being the recipient of several Grammy nominations for the songs like "Stomp" by Kirk Franklin and New Nation people. Like it was New Nation and God's Property, I think. I used to watch that video on TV. Yeah, see the song was which was used. I think it was like this. Let me explain it to you again. This man has also had songs featured in the film Bad Boys with Sean Penn. Okay, as well as being the recipient of the several Grammy nominations for the songs like "Stomp" by Kirk Franklin, which have used a song, "One Nation Under a Groove," as its musical inspiration. The song won like Song of the Year by at least at the GMA Dub Awards, DOVE Dub. Get um Shider. Yeah, Shider had done some things that he wanted to be creative in after he was leaving the he's leaving the group. I think it was back in the day. But Shider, he released a solo single in 1988. It was entitled "Beautiful." It was entitled "Beautiful." Uh, the attempt to reconcile P-Funk's distinct sound with that of the late 80s synth pop yielded no chart success. He released two full albums in 2002, like Diaper Man: The Second Coming and Diaper Man Goes Star Child. Yeah, he had two albums that he just released there. Two full albums that Garry Shider had released. That was in 2002. It was Diaper Man: The Second Coming and Diaper Man Goes Star Child. Long before that, um, see, it's prior between that part here. But Shider, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's what he did. We get to Shider here. We see what happened with Shider. He was inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997 as a prominent member of the collective group Parliament Funkadelic. He got into that group so goddamn bad. He wanted to just jump in there and just learn to sing. But he sang the gospel, of course, under the pretenses of his father and his brothers. As a man, he had to do what he had to do to get there. His only objective is to get there by any means necessary. His only goal is to get there. Until he died in 2010, it was announced that Shider was suffering from cancer. Yes, let me explain to you here. In 2010, it was announced that Shider was suffering from cancer of the brain and the lungs. The lungs. On June 16, 2010, Shider died from the complications of his cancer at his home in Greater Upper Marlboro, Maryland. He is survived by his wife, who is now his widow, Linda Shider, who was featured on the Tear the Roof Off, the untold story of Parliament Funkadelic documentary. A singer-songwriter and his two sons. I don't know if there's any albums that's been mentioned here. It's just awards. See some awards right here. He was he was he was in this thing here. It says about he was in this Dub Gospel Awards in 1998 for the song of the year was for the song called Stomp. That was from Kirk Franklin and God's Property slash New Nation. In 1978, he was awarded in Who's Who in Music. Uh, he was he was nominated. He was nominated for a Grammy. Be around 1978 and 1997 inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997. But he got references about uh, the song "Beautiful." They mentioned about the discography. Um, they mentioned about the albums like the Second Coming of Diaper Man, and then Diaper Man Goes Star Child, and then you have some references about this news dated back to June 16th of 2010 regarding Shider's untimely death. There's mentions of him on Star Ledger. There's there's some stuff that's already been mentioned about how he passed away. You know what I'm saying? It was all over Billboard.com, but it got released and retrieved on August the 17th of 2012. It was all the way from September 14th, 2009. Those months before he passed away in June of 2010. Um, this came from the New York Times. That's from the New York. What's this from? The New York Times. That was from. It was those days after Shider had passed away on June 16th, 2010. Was June 21st, 2010. But it got retrieved on December the 10th of 2022. So all you get mentions here is all further readings here. So you got further readings here about Shider from the Washington Post, and you got the same stuff. You got the same old. You got the same thing. You got the further reading from Larry Rotter, who was doing the who did the news for the NYT about. It's the same thing. That's from the reference here. It's all the work that this man had done. You know what I'm saying? This is his. This man here. I gotta go back to what I'm going to have to show you here. We'll get you into the old photos of him in a minute. See the old photos they have of Garry Shider. See old photos of him in the 70s. You have photos of him in the 70s when he started performing. There's previous photos of him when he was he was performing. There's a photo of Garry performing alongside George Clinton here. The red wig. Jeez. There's the old photos they have of Garry when he was performing back in the old days, especially in the 1970s. See the old photos they have. That was already been mentioned here. Before Glenn Goins died, before uh, he before he died, Glenn Goins was performing with Parliament and Funkadelic for the last time. But the only problem is George had never even paid Glenn. He never paid Glenn because George owed Glenn. He owed Glenn a lot of money. I know how these guys, you know, all of a sudden their paychecks was cut, and George would keep all the money. There's other photos they have of him. There's the photos of Garry. You know what I'm saying? With a guitar in his hand, and George was standing there dressed up like Elvis Presley with the outfit. Many people who had performed with him in Parliament Funkadelic, those who had performed with Funkadelic in Parliament, is the Brides of Funkenstein. The Brides of Funkenstein might prepare. Oh, that's a women. There's some women that perform on some late show. See, we got all these people being featured on their women. There's Garry and George. Again, it's the old photos they never even have. And there he is here. There he is. This is his last performance when he was singing. He was singing alongside this woman here who has been in these two groups like Brainstorm and the Undisputed Truth. The late Belita Woods. She was a good singer, bro. She's been a singer. This old photo of George and Garry that was at the I feel it was at the I think that was at the Woodstock. I don't know if it was at some other place that they went. They had some live show here. I think it was I don't think it was yet already there. It was in New York or something. I don't know. It wasn't in there. There's some see it's old photos they have of them. See, you got other photos they have of Garry when he sports a mohawk. This is him. This is him when he was sporting a mohawk. He sported a mohawk while he was performing. It's a lot of people, man. It's a lot of photos they have of him. This is what he look like. I don't even know if they have it. That's the old cover right here. It was an old cover. It was an album here. It was called "The Best of Parliament." They have all these people in this picture here. There's Bernie, there's Garry, there's Grady. Um, I think there was Clarence. There's probably Dawn. You know what I'm saying, or at least Jeanette. Calvin was already in the picture. I think Ray was in the picture among those people I was on there. George, he was wearing the outfit there. He had that thing on his head. And he had the ears. That's what it looked like. That's what it looks like right there. These among the people as some of the people you see that died. You know, and Junie Morrison. You know, Walter Junie Morrison. He's not even a member of Parliament Funkadelic. He was in the Ohio Players. You know, the people that was gone. See, there's all the members of there. There's one here. There's two. There's three. There's four. There's five and six and seven. The other members that's gone, I think it was Lucius Ross. It was Lucius Ross and it was Lucius Ross. I think. Well, a couple of people had died. I think it was Lucius Ross. Um, he was in the band. Yeah, I gotta find out whoever died too. I gotta find out whoever died. So, oh, I think it was Belita Woods. It was Belita Woods. Uh, Rosalind Franklin. Oh, and who else died? Debbie Wright. Debbie Wright. Deborah Colleen Wright. I mean, she passed away 2017. Brain aneurysm. She had died of brain aneurysm, and she died from that. So yeah, it's only at least damn, it's at least about 12 of them. Eddie Hazel, Glenn Goins, uh, Tiki Forward, uh, Boogie Boogie Masoon, Boogie Masoon, Fuzzy Haskins, Billy Bass Nelson, Ray Davis, uh, Calvin Simon, shit, Garry Shider, Belita Woods, yes, Belita Woods, Debbie Wright, Rosalind Franklin. Damn, I think it was about shit. I think it was about 12 of them, of those members, alongside Shider. Yeah, they all rested in peace. All 12 of those members, have died, but they rested in peace. Uh, the two guys that they're not even members of Parliament in Funkadelic is Phelps Collins. Is Phelps Collins? They call him Catfish. Um, who had been a brother of William Collins, who was known as Bootsy. He passed away in 2010. Another guy who was not even a member of the of Parliament Funkadelic. Another guy who was not even a member of Parliament Funkadelic. I gotta find that out myself. The one guy who's not even an official member of Parliament Funkadelic is Ohio Players member Walter Junie Morrison. Okay, he was in Parliament Funkadelic, even though before that he was in Ohio Players. You know, this old picture they already showed me, man, on the documentary. There's a picture of Walter Junie Morrison. This picture is a picture of Morrison sitting down in his throne or whatever. He sits there in his throne holding a drink in his hand, and he surrounded himself with all those stacks and stacks of bread slices. The slices of bread. He surrounded himself with all these slices of bread stacking up on top of one another, standing right next to each other, and surrounded him while he was sitting down holding a drink. But rest in peace to Walter Morrison. Rest in peace to Mr. Walter Morrison, who was Ohio Players and Parliament and Funkadelic. Rest in peace to him, because he's a good singer in the players. You know what I'm saying? He will be missed. So I gotta make sure I gotta get back to what I'm doing next. I forgot to tell you, I already put out I put out this because I put out I had to memorialize this guy before I had to do the show. See, I'm glad we'll dedicate this live show here to the man who was known for wearing a diaper made out of those towels that he stole from the Holiday Inn all those years ago. Yeah, in memory. It was goes out in the memory of Mr. Garry Marshall Shider. They call him Choli. They call him Choli. They call him Diaper Man, and they call him Star Child. Um, He leaves behind, but he died, but he leaves behind his wife, who is now his widow, Linda Shider, and you know what I'm saying, who was like a singer and a songwriter in her own right, and their two sons. Yes, it goes out. It goes out for one because I gotta write this down. Um, I gotta start over. Let me see. This dedication, this live show is already in dedication into the memory of Mr. Garry Marshall Shider, who was born on July the 24th, 1953, and died on June the 16th, 2010. Rest in peace, Mr. Garry Marshall Shider.